Hi everybody. Okay, so yesterday I mentioned I was going to talk about something different tonight. So it's day 14. Day 14 is done, out of the way. I have had no chocolate. That has all been fine. I think it's pretty safe to assume that this is becoming a little bit more easy to do now because I have a strategy. I've got a coping strategy, so I'm doing all right with that. If there is an issue, I will of course try and address that, and I'll probably report it back in my daily videos. Okay, so yesterday I did a quick video update on the days, and I mentioned that I want to talk about mental health in particular. I suppose I just want to, get this off my chest really, because it's not something that I do talk about freely. And I think this is the problem. It's not a problem for everyone. I know some people are they're much better at discussing their problems than I am. And some people might think, oh my God, she's so desperate for attention. She's gonna, share all this, and we don't need to know that. If that's the case, tune out now, because I've got 10 minutes before my time will run out, and that'll be it. As soon as that's done, it is off out into the world. Okay, so the big four, well, I suppose you say it three. The big three mental health problems that I hear a lot of at the minute are depression, including postnatal depression, paranoia, and anxiety. Okay, now those 3 or 4 issues, they are becoming very common. You do hear a lot of them, and 9 times out of 10 you get someone who will tell you about their issues, and if you can relate to that, that makes, I don't know, maybe it makes you a better person, maybe it makes you a worse person, I don't know what it makes you, but sometimes it's easy to relate to that. So on this I'll just sort of give you this as a bit of a backstory. This is what got me thinking about this. On Friday I was at work, and a woman called us up, and she was suffering with paranoia issues, some issues with anxiety, and issues with postnatal depression as well, that had been undiagnosed because the doctors weren't sure if it was just grief that she was struggling with or whether it was in fact postnatal depression. Anyway, as she explained to me on that phone call, it was postnatal depression, and she'd been awaiting some issues. And I said to her, truthfully, not, just told her the truth, that she apologised to me. She said, I'm sorry, but I do suffer with postnatal depression and paranoia issues, so if I repeat myself, I do apologise. Don't apologise for it. I said, I've been where you are. I've been that person. I've only recently come off my medication for this illness. I said, so of course I'm not going to sit here and judge you because you're struggling and you need our help. And sometimes, I said this before, sometimes the greatest charity thing you can do is give somebody your time. And that is what I did. That's all I did. I didn't do anything on this call other than listen. That is all I did. So that really got the ball rolling on this, I think, because the more I started to think about it, the more I started to think, well, I said to, sometimes when you tell people that you're depressed or you're suffering with depression, people don't know what to say. And any mental health problem, because so often people throw around these serious illnesses as casual things. So I'm feeling a bit down suddenly becomes I'm depressed, and it's not, when in actual fact you're just feeling a little bit blue. And paranoia issues, people never take those seriously. I've been through some of them. I had one incident when I freaked because it was something so small and minuscule, and I thought, what the hell have I done? I must have really upset her. I don't think she likes me anymore. And I made my husband get in touch with my sister-in-law to double check that she hadn't fallen out at me and that I'd done nothing to upset her, because I was in such a state. I'd wound myself up so much about it. I couldn't think straight. But that was the case. And it is very difficult dealing with any of these issues because that has been the case, because people don't take paranoia seriously. We don't think about depression as being a serious issue. So have you tried not being depressed? What have you got to be depressed about? You look at everything, you should be so grateful for everything you've got. And what you're actually saying to a person with depression is that, yeah, alright, fine, you might not feel very well, but why should you be depressed? You've got nothing to be depressed about. You've got so much more than that person does. And then you're telling that person, you should feel guilty now. These feelings of depression, they're unfounded, and you should feel guilty about the fact that you feel like this. And that is how I felt. And because when I was diagnosed, and I felt to myself that this was wrong, I kept on saying to myself, you shouldn't be depressed. Look at everything you've got a roof over your head, you've got food on the table, you've got a beautiful son who loves you more than anything, and you're the world to him. And I wouldn't change that, but that is very difficult to accept when the other voices in your head are telling you, you shit. You absolutely suck at this. You're going to fail. You're not going to be able to feed your son. You're not going to be able to do this. You're never going to be a good parent because you don't know how to be. And it's very, very difficult when you've got them two voices arguing with themselves in your own head. One of them telling you, don't be depressed. You've got so much to be grateful for. And the other one saying, you're a failure. Because you don't know how to wire your brain any differently just because there's a new person there. And I'm sorry, I am starting to get, it's quite emotional thinking and talking about it, because sometimes you can't separate those feelings. I can't do it now. And I was on medication for this. I wasn't on it for long, so I was only on it for about a year. And I came off that before I started working because I wanted to be clear of that before I started my job. So about a month before I started work, I came off those, and there were still days when it's difficult, but alright, no, I don't struggle with telling myself that I don't tell myself I'm failing anymore, because I don't feel like I am. I'm at least succeeding in something. But there are still times when you think to yourself, is this the best thing? Am I doing right by my son? Am I doing right by myself? Now, just to touch back, I did start doing a video before as well, and it all closed. That's why I know I've got 10 minutes, so I'm going to be really quick. But there was so much going on when I first had Charlie. There was just so much there all at once. So it was everything. It's like, well, all of a sudden now, not only am I a wife, but I'm also somebody's mother. And that's it. From this point forward, I will always be a mum first. And like I said, I'd never change that for the world, but with being a mother seemed to come, that was it, that was my only identity, and it was very difficult. So when I first started job seeking, I tried to tell people that, I had been struggling with this issue, and what I was trying to convey, I suppose, was that going back into work was some attempt at clawing back some sense of self and becoming I suppose being more a sense of myself as I was before I had Charlie. Not without him, but trying to be that same person that I was when I was more than just a mum. That's terrible, isn't it? I was more than just a mother. And I appreciate that is the most difficult job that I will ever do. There is so much involved in taking care of him, but this is what caused a lot of problems for me, was that I felt guilty that I wanted to be more than this. That I would always want to be more than just that. And now I am, and now I'm sat here doing this video. So the question begs, will it ever get better, I guess? My time's about to run out, so if I get the opportunity to, I'll follow this up tomorrow, and you do want to get in touch and chat to me about mental health, then go for it. I'm never far away, but please know that if you are struggling, you are not alone, and you never will be, because there is always someone like me who is always there to listen. So just remember that.